Red Bull is in trouble. After years of dominance, McLaren is now setting the pace in Formula One. But don't worry, because the Milton Keynes team has devised a master plan to reclaim the crown. Will it work? Stay until the end because we'll tell you everything. Do you think Red Bull can make a comeback and challenge McLaren this year? Leave your opinion in the comments. Red Bull's dominance in Formula One has been absolute for several seasons, but the situation has changed dramatically in 2025. Now, the team setting the pace is McLaren, a team that has made an impressive leap in quality and has established itself as the great threat in the championship. The first tests in Bahrain confirmed what many suspected since the end of the previous season. McLaren has managed to develop a car that not only maintains the lead it held at the end of 2024, but even appears to have widened the gap with its main rivals. The speed shown in practice has been overwhelming, especially in high-downforce sectors where Red Bull used to dominate with ease. The British team has achieved this advantage thanks to a combination of technical innovations and impeccable resource management. The key to its success lies in its ability to evolve its aerodynamic concept without the limitations that have plagued other teams. In contrast, Red Bull appears to have reached a point where the evolution of its previous design is not yielding the expected results. In the constructors' standings, McLaren closed the 2024 season at the top with 666 points, surpassing Ferrari and relegating Red Bull to third place with 589 points. Despite Max Verstappen securing his fourth consecutive Drivers' Championship, the gap in the team's overall performance was evident, demonstrating that Red Bull relied heavily on the Dutchman's skills to remain competitive. Within Red Bull, the concern is evident. Team advisor Helmut Marko has publicly acknowledged that the 2025 season will be a close race between at least 4 teams: McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull. However, his statements have made it clear that McLaren is already ahead, something rarely heard from the Milton Keynes-based team in recent years. The change in the grid hierarchy has also been accompanied by an internal reorganization at Red Bull. Following Sergio Perez's departure at the end of 2024, Liam Lawson has taken his place as second driver, representing an additional challenge for the team. While Verstappen continues to be the absolute leader, Lawson still needs to adapt to his new role and demonstrate that he can contribute to the development of the car in a situation where every detail counts. The current situation leaves Red Bull in a position unfamiliar to them in recent years. They are no longer the top favorites for the title. The key question is whether they can react in time to regain their dominance, or whether 2025 will mark the beginning of a new era with McLaren as the team to beat. Red Bull has acknowledged that McLaren has taken the lead in terms of performance, but far from being complacent, the Milton Keynes team has designed a meticulous plan to regain ground. The strategy is based on a progressive evolution of the RB21, prioritizing aerodynamic optimization and on-track efficiency without compromising the stability of the car's overall concept. Unlike previous seasons, where Red Bull typically set the pace from the start, in 2025 they have opted for a more conservative approach to the RB21's design. Instead of a design revolution, the team has opted for a calculated evolution of its predecessor, the RB20. At first glance, the car maintains a similar appearance, but every component has been revised and optimized with the aim of improving performance in the areas where McLaren has gained an advantage. One of the highlights of this strategy is the implementation of an aggressive upgrade program that will be rolled out over the first 5 races of the season. The team has confirmed an initial package of 12 upgrades that will debut at the Australian Grand Prix, with additional developments planned at strategic intervals. These modifications seek to address the shortcomings identified during pre-season testing, where the RB21 exhibited difficulties in terms of stability in fast corners and tire management efficiency. The front wing is one of the key areas where Red Bull is working intensively. It has been identified that the flexibility of this component can generate significant aerodynamic benefits, allowing for improved balance without compromising straight-line speed. Images captured during testing in Bahrain revealed that the upper elements of the RB21's front wing flexed more than usual, suggesting a development direction focused on maximizing downforce without generating excessive drag. Another critical area where Red Bull has focused its efforts is the underbody of the car. Under the current regulations, the aerodynamic performance of the underbody area has become a determining factor in the car's competitiveness. There is speculation that the team has introduced modifications to the ground effects tunnels and diffusers to improve aerodynamic efficiency without sacrificing the car's stability under braking and directional changes. Red Bull's strategy also takes into account power unit optimization. Although the team continues to rely on its engine, developed in collaboration with Honda, The key lies in the integration of aerodynamics with power delivery. Work has been done to improve airflow management at the rear of the car to reduce turbulence and improve traction in low-speed corners, one of the areas where McLaren has proven superior. One of the biggest challenges of this approach is time. While McLaren has started the season with a clear advantage, Red Bull needs to execute its development plan precisely to close the gap as quickly as possible. If the scheduled updates do not have the expected impact in the first few races, the team could be forced to rethink its strategy and accelerate the implementation of more drastic changes, which would pose an additional risk in terms of reliability and car adaptability. The success of this strategy will largely depend on the technical team's ability to accurately identify areas for improvement and implement effective solutions without compromising the car's balance. Red Bull has demonstrated in the past its ability to develop winning cars even in adverse situations, but in 2025 they face one of their biggest challenges in recent years. The plan is underway, and the upcoming races will determine whether Red Bull can regain its status as a dominant team or whether McLaren's supremacy will consolidate as the new reality of Formula One. The development of a car throughout the season is a determining factor in Formula One. Over the past few years, Red Bull has been one of the most efficient teams in evolving its car during the calendar, but in 2025 they face a completely different situation. McLaren has managed to start the season with an advantage, forcing Red Bull to execute a strategically designed improvement plan to close the gap in the shortest possible time. One of the key points in the fight for development is the car's adaptability to different circuits. While McLaren has demonstrated superior performance in testing in Bahrain, a track that combines fast corners with long straights, Red Bull is confident that its progressive evolution will allow it to improve on circuits with different characteristics, such as Monaco or Singapore, where downforce is more important than top speed. The Milton Keynes-based team has identified the flexibility of the front wing as one of the areas where they can make immediate improvements. During preseason testing, it was observed that the upper part of this component had greater deformation compared to previous versions, suggesting that Red Bull is exploring ways to optimize downforce without compromising the car's straight-line efficiency. This type of innovation can make a difference on circuits where stability in fast corners is crucial. Another key aspect of the car's development is the evolution of the flat floor and ground effect tunnels. Since the introduction of the current aerodynamic regulations, the efficiency of airflow under the car has become a key factor in performance. Red Bull has been working on modifications to the underbody of the RB21 to improve the car's stability in different track conditions. There is speculation that the team has been testing variations to the internal aerodynamic channels to optimize grip without negatively affecting top speed. In addition to aerodynamic development, tire management will be a determining factor in the fight against McLaren. In 2024, Red Bull suffered from premature rear tire wear in several races, an issue that cost them important points in the Constructors' Championship. For 2025, the team has worked on better weight distribution and the integration of the suspension with the car's aerodynamics. The key will be finding a balance between qualifying speed and consistency on long runs, something McLaren has shown a clear advantage in during the year's early testing. The engine will also be a key focus in the development battle. Although Red Bull continues to use Honda power units, the key lies not in the engine's raw power, but in the efficiency of power delivery and integration with the chassis. The team has been working on improving powertrain cooling to avoid performance losses in races with extreme temperatures, such as those in the Middle East or summer races in Europe. Red Bull's ability to develop the car throughout the season will also depend on the feedback provided by its drivers. Max Verstappen has repeatedly demonstrated his ability to adapt to any situation, but in 2025 he has a new teammate, Liam Lawson, who must integrate quickly and provide key data for the car's development. Communication between drivers and engineers will be a determining factor in the speed with which Red Bull can implement effective improvements. Another major challenge is the budget cap, which has changed the way teams approach development throughout the season. In previous years, Red Bull could make continuous improvements without significant restrictions, but today each update must be carefully planned so as not to compromise resources allocated to other areas of the team. McLaren has demonstrated great efficiency in managing its budget, which has allowed it to introduce significant improvements without exceeding the financial limits set by the FIA. The key to success in modern Formula One is not only developing a competitive car at the start of the season, but also maintaining a constant evolution curve that allows for improvements race after race. Red Bull has demonstrated in the past that it has the ability to quickly adapt to new challenges, but in 2025, it faces one of its toughest tests. The upcoming races will be crucial in determining whether Red Bull can execute its development plan with the precision needed to challenge McLaren, or whether the British team will consolidate its dominance in the category. The season is long, but every detail counts in a fight that is shaping up to be one of the most intense in recent years. The 2025 Formula One season has begun with a scenario that few anticipated a year ago. Red Bull, a team that has dominated the category in recent years, finds itself in an unusual position, chasing McLaren, which has managed to make a step forward and become the benchmark on the grid. An analysis of the current situation reveals that Red Bull has a well-structured plan to make up ground, but time is against them. McLaren has started the year with a car that has proven to be fast and balanced on different types of circuits, giving them a strategic advantage in the early races. Red Bull, on the other hand, depends on its ability to develop the RB21 efficiently and quickly, introducing improvements that allow it to close the gap without compromising the car's reliability. One of the biggest challenges facing Red Bull is not only closing the gap on McLaren, but also containing the threat from other teams such as Ferrari and Mercedes. Competition at the top of the grid is more intense than ever, meaning that any failure in the execution of the development plan could cause the Milton Keynes team to lose even more ground in the championship fight. Pressure on the drivers will be a key factor in the outcome of this season. Max Verstappen remains Red Bull's main hope and has demonstrated his ability to overcome adverse situations in the past. However, he will need the team to provide him with a car that matches his capabilities to compete on equal terms with McLaren. Liam Lawson, meanwhile, is facing his first year as a regular driver for Red Bull, and his performance will be crucial not only in terms of points for the Constructors' Championship, but also in the car's development throughout the season. Red Bull's improvement plan is underway, but success will depend on how quickly they implement their updates and how effective each one is on track. The next 5 races will determine whether the team can regain its dominance or whether McLaren will establish itself as the new dominant force in Formula One. Throughout the history of the sport, changes in the team hierarchy have been constant. Teams that seemed invincible have fallen into periods of difficulty, while others have taken advantage of key moments to rise. Red Bull is at a turning point, and how they manage this challenge will define not only their 2025 season, but also their position in the face of the regulation changes that will come into effect in 2026. The championship is far from over, but every technical decision and every update will be fundamental in the fight for the title. McLaren has taken the lead, but Red Bull still has room to react. The big question is whether they can execute their strategy with the precision needed to return to the top of world motorsport.